this is what the record looks like in case you don't have it. It's called Breathing Underwater. And a few things of note about this CD. The photos that were taken on the front and the back were taken by my bass player, Wes Waymiller, who played bass on this. They were taken in my apartment in West Hollywood at the time. And in addition to being an incredible bass player, Wes was also a wonderful photographer. And we lost him way, way too young at age 33 from complications of thyroid cancer. And I miss him all the time. And I ended up writing a song. It's not on this record, but it's another more soft song called You're Still With Me. It's on the Make Your Move record, and that was written for Wes, who is a huge part of making this record. So I'm going to kind of just go through song by song and tell you a little bit about what was, the motivation behind the songs, and so if I can find something interesting to tell you about each song, I'm going to do my best. So the first song is a song called I Miss You. And well, I think it's 3 songs on this record that were all based on one failed love affair. The subject of that song, we'll call him the guy for the purposes of this. We're actually very good friends now, and we're past that stage of our relationship, but he was somebody who I had been very close friends with, and it turned into more than friends, and then it just did not work out well, and I basically had a massive broken heart. So this first song I wrote about him, it's called I Miss You, and the groove was inspired by an evening that I spent with a band that I really loved. We had a gig in the Berkshires, and I opened for them. They were called Melodrone, and I think that's what they were called. And I got a ride up to the Berkshires from them. And so on the ride home, which was back to, I think it was my dad's place in Connecticut, we listened to the whole Sade record that had all of her big hits on it, like, this is no ordinary love. Oh, that wasn't the song that really got me. What was her song that was so popular? One of her big hits. But I always loved her background vocals. So they're very close harmonies. So most harmonies are usually like thirds apart, and hers were like seconds, which is like the notes right next to each other. And I just love that. Prince does that a lot too. Love it. And I do that a lot because I love the sound of it. So I was inspired by the Sade songs I was listening to. Not only did they have these really cool, haunting background vocals, but it also used, a lot of her songs used the same chord progression for both the verse and the chorus. And that's something that I never really did until the song I Miss You. So that was something that I kind of messed around with, and I really, really loved it. And I still love playing it to this day. The second song on the record is called Soft in the Middle, and that was almost the title of this record, because I really was feeling very vulnerable myself. And the song Soft in the Middle is really about being a tough chick and a musician that people saw as like kick-ass and badass and stuff. But I kind of felt like people didn't know there was the sensitive person underneath the, tough chick on the outside. So Soft in the Middle is just a song about that side of me. And I was thinking, well, if I named the record Soft in the Middle, I could either have a picture, like a super close-up picture of my cat Indy's belly, like just fuzz as the cover, which would have been adorable, I think. Or I was considering, and I think I did take some photos like this, some midriff, like photo of me with my midriff showing, my soft midriff showing. But I decided not to do that. I decided to call the record Breathing Underwater, which is the 4th song on the record. And Breathing Underwater, that was another sad love song about the situation with the guy. But now that it's been many, many years since that whole situation and since I wrote the song, the way I like to introduce that song now is that it's a song about taking a situation in life that we never would have asked for, like what we're going through right now with the whole COVID-19 epidemic, pandemic going throughout the world, and seeing like, okay, well, I don't get a choice. This is it. There's this coronavirus out there, or I love this person and he doesn't love me. What am I going to do with that? You know, and am I going to resist? Am I going to fight? Or am I going to accept it with grace and find a way to deal with it gracefully? So that's what the song Breathing Underwater is about to me. It really applies to more than just, uh, I love you, you don't love me. But that's what the words are ostensibly about. That's the fourth song on the record. The third one is a song called If Only, and this is one of the few songs that is not at all autobiographical whatsoever. It's about a woman in a relationship with someone who is an alcoholic. And I do have a funny story about this. So I had a boyfriend years later after I wrote the song. And I had never played the song live before, but my mom was coming to visit for a show. And I ended up debuting this song at my show. And she didn't really know my boyfriend that I lived with at the time very well. And so she heard the song, and it's about like some guy coming home, and like he's drunk at 2 a.m. and I think I've aligned something about it's easier to put up than put out. It's easier to put out than to put up a fight. And afterwards, my mom was like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "Oh, Mom, that's not true. That's not our relationship whatsoever." But anyway, that was called imagination. So anyway, that was kind of a funny story. And my poor boyfriend at the time, he was a little mortified that she thought that he was coming home drunk and whatever. So that was that song. Sweet Scene, and what was the other song that Sweet Scene and the song If Only, I co-wrote with a songwriting student and friend of mine that I had met when I was a student at UCLA. And he is a very, very strong songwriter. And he used to come to me. He started coming to me for guitar lessons, but I really had more fun teaching him songwriting and helping him strengthen his songs. And two of his songs, these two, were so great musically that I basically took those songs and rewrote the lyrics and sometimes changed a little bit of melody if I felt like I needed to. But so they were essentially co-writes, of course, with his permission and blessing, with my student and friend Michael Reither. Ashes to Ashes was a song I wrote when my grandfather Joe died. And yeah, that song, another kind of haunting, bittersweet song, was just an ode to my grandpa. You Mean That Much to Me, another song about the guy. I don't know that I've ever performed this one live. It's a little challenging to play, but it's definitely something I could play. It's just really kind of sad, and I'm not at that place in my life anymore, so it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to play songs where you can't, as a performer, find a way into them. You've got to kind of reframe it. So like with Breathing Underwater, I'm happily married now, so I'm not in the situation of like, oh, I'm pining for this guy. But I certainly am faced with all kinds of situations where it's not something I would have chosen, and I need to figure out how to deal with it gracefully. So I can put myself there to sing the song Breathing Underwater and really feel it. This one is not so much, and it kind of tends to depress me. But I do love the song. I really love the melody. And that's You Mean That Much to Me. I'm Here is a song that I started writing a long time ago and then finished writing when my mom was going through chemo for her lymphoma, which she is cured from now, 15 years. Go, Mom. And she called me while I was in the studio and said, "Oh, honey, by the way, I have a temporary change of address. I'm in the hospital." And I'm like, "What?" She had a not so great response to her first chemo. It was, she was a very small woman and chemo is very strong, so she had to go be hospitalized. And I said, "Well, I'm leaving now. I'm driving up to come see you." And she's like, "Oh, no, don't worry about it." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You're in the hospital going through your first chemo, and you're not doing well. I'm coming up. So as I was driving, I kind of rewrote the words to what I had for the song I'm Here and made it fit the situation for my mom. And so I wrote it for her, and I still love singing this song because I feel like it's a very peaceful, soothing song of love and support. And I love my mom, and I'm so glad she's still with us. The last song on the record, there is another version of I Miss You. It's called Radio Edit. Really, it's not much of a different version. I think it's like a few seconds shorter, but I think my producer or I or one of us or both of us were thinking, well, if we put Radio Edit, then radio programmers will know which song to focus on. You should, you know, it was also the first song on the record, so, you know. But the last individual song is called The Ride, and The Ride is a song I wrote for my littlest sister Sarah, and Sarah's actually an alley cat, and I wrote it for her because she, even though she was the youngest daughter, she was the first of us to get married. And when she got married, she was kind of young for people in my family, I guess, and went through a lot of grief from like parents and other people who were like second guessing her decision. And I wrote it as a song of support for her. And I am very happy to say, however many years later this is, it's a lot of years later, she is still happily married with two amazing kids, my niece and nephew. And she made the right decision. But that was not evident at the time to a lot of people. So it was just my way of saying, I love you, Sarah. And, you know, stick to your heart and what you want to do. And I believe in you, and I believe in your judgment. And she turned out to be right. So that was awesome. So that's the stories behind the songs on Breathing Underwater. These are a lot of my kind of softer songs. I do have some softer songs on Make Your Move. Like I said, I have the song I wrote for Wes, which is called You're Still With Me. Oh, I also have the song Love More, which is a more recent song. I happen to have the t-shirt right here, so I'll just show you because I love this artwork so much. Love More is a song that I wrote, gosh, a couple of years ago now, trying to encourage us all to be kinder to each other. I don't know, you know, it's a weird world right now, you guys. Just be kind, be brave, wash your hands, and stay safe. Hug each other if you live with somebody or a pet. Hug your pet. Or hug everybody that you want to hug virtually by giving them a call and just checking up on them and seeing how they're doing. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day or evening whenever you're watching this, and be inspired, be happy, and always remember, you rock, even if it's acoustically. Bye.